What if I told you that the secret to getting your confidence back isn't in a bottle, isn't expensive, and doesn't require leaving your house? What if the solution to those embarrassing moments when you laugh too hard, sneeze, or can't make it to the bathroom in time is literally in your own hands? I'm talking about your pelvic floor. And today I'm going to share the exact exercises that transformed my life and gave me back the confidence I thought I'd lost forever. My name is Sarah, I'm 54 years old. And 3 years ago I was convinced that leaking urine and feeling disconnected from my own body was just part of getting older. I was wrong, and I'm here to prove that you don't have to accept that either. Ladies, let's be honest about something that too many of us suffer in silence about. By age 50, nearly 40% of women experience some form of pelvic floor dysfunction. That's almost half of us dealing with incontinence, pelvic organ prolapse, or intimate discomfort. And yet we barely talk about it. We whisper about it to our closest friends. We make jokes to hide our embarrassment. But we rarely address it head-on with the seriousness it deserves. I remember the exact moment I realized I needed help. I was at my granddaughter's birthday party, and she told the funniest joke. Everyone was laughing, and I started laughing too. But then I felt it happen, that warm, wet feeling that made my heart sink. I excused myself to the bathroom, cleaned up as best I could, and spent the rest of the party worried that someone would notice, that it would happen again, that this was just my new reality. Nights, I cried. I cried because I felt like my body had betrayed me. I cried because I thought this was just what happened when you get older. When you've had children, when you're going through menopause, I felt like I was broken. And I was ashamed to even talk to my doctor about it. But here's what I wish someone had told me 3 years ago. Your pelvic floor is a group of muscles, and like any muscle group, it can be strengthened, retrained, and restored. The weakness you're experiencing isn't a life sentence. It's not something you just have to live with. It's something you can actively work on and improve, often dramatically. Today, I'm going to share with you the journey that took me from feeling defeated and embarrassed to feeling strong, confident, and in control of my body again. We're going to talk about what your pelvic floor actually is, why it becomes weak, and most importantly, I'm going to teach you the specific exercises that changed everything for me. These aren't just any exercises I found online. These are techniques I learned from working with a pelvic floor physical therapist, combined with my own research and 3 years of consistent practice. Hey, before we continue, let me ask you, have you liked and subscribed to the channel yet? No? Then take advantage now and click the subscribe button below. Oh, and leave a comment with what you think of this video and which city you're watching it from. Your participation is very important to us. It helps our channel grow and bring more content like this. I'm counting on you. Now, let's continue. By the end of this video, you're going to understand your body better. You're going to have a comprehensive exercise routine you can start today. And most importantly, you're going to know that you have the power to reclaim your confidence and your life. Understanding your pelvic floor. Before we dive into the exercises, let's talk about what we're actually working with. Your pelvic floor is like a hammock of muscles that stretches from your pubic bone in the front to your tailbone in the back, and from side to side between your sit bones. These muscles support your bladder, uterus, and rectum, and they play a crucial role in continence, sexual function, and core stability. Think of your pelvic floor as the foundation of a house. When the foundation is strong, everything above it is stable and secure. When the foundation weakens, cracks start to appear, things start to shift, and problems begin to emerge throughout the entire structure. Now, why does the pelvic floor weaken as we age? There are several factors at play here. First, childbirth. Every time we carry a baby, our pelvic floor muscles stretch and strain to support that growing weight. During delivery, especially vaginal delivery, these muscles can be stretched even further or sometimes torn. Even if you had a C-section, 9 months of carrying a baby still puts stress on these muscles. Second, hormonal changes. As we go through perimenopause and menopause, our estrogen levels drop significantly. Estrogen helps maintain the strength and elasticity of our tissues, including our pelvic floor muscles. Without adequate estrogen, these muscles can become weaker and less flexible. Third, general aging. Just like the muscles in our arms and legs can lose strength and mass as we age, so can our pelvic floor muscles. If we don't actively work to maintain them, they will naturally weaken over time. Fourth, Lifestyle factors, chronic constipation, chronic coughing, being overweight, and lack of exercise can all put additional strain on the pelvic floor or contribute to its weakening. Here's something important to understand. Your pelvic floor muscles need to be able to both contract and relax. Many women think that pelvic floor exercises are just about squeezing and tightening, but that's only half the story. These muscles need to be able to contract when you need them to, like when you cough or sneeze, but they also need to be able to relax completely, which is essential for things like emptying your bladder completely or having comfortable intercourse. The good news is that pelvic floor muscles respond very well to exercise. Studies have shown that pelvic floor muscle training can reduce incontinence episodes by 50% or more in many women. Some women see improvement in just a few weeks, while others may need several months of consistent practice. The key is understanding how to do the exercises correctly and being patient with the process. My personal journey. Let me share with you exactly how I discovered these exercises and what my journey looked like, because I think it's important for you to know that I didn't figure this out overnight, and I had my fair share of setbacks and frustrations along the way. After that embarrassing moment at my granddaughter's party, I did what most of us do first. I went to Google. I searched for bladder leakage after 50 and how to stop peeing when I laugh. I found the usual advice about Kegel exercises, so I started doing what I thought were Kegels. I would squeeze my pelvic floor muscles while sitting at red lights, while watching TV, while lying in bed. I did this for about 2 months, and honestly, I didn't see much improvement. If anything, I felt like things were getting worse. I was getting frustrated and starting to think that surgery might be my only option when I mentioned my struggles to my friend Linda. Linda had gone through something similar a few years earlier, and she told me about pelvic floor physical therapy. I had never heard of such a thing, but she insisted that it had changed her life. I was nervous about making that first appointment. The idea of talking to a stranger about such intimate problems felt overwhelming, but I was desperate enough to try anything. That first appointment with Maria, my pelvic floor physical therapist, was eye-opening in ways I never expected. The first thing Maria told me was that I was doing Kegel exercises wrong. She explained that just squeezing randomly throughout the day wasn't effective and could actually make some problems worse. She taught me how to properly identify my pelvic floor muscles, how to contract them correctly, and equally importantly, how to fully relax them. Maria also did an assessment and discovered that my pelvic floor muscles were actually too tight in some areas and too weak in others. She explained that this is very common and that this imbalance was contributing to my problems. Some of my muscles were working overtime to compensate for the weak ones, which was creating tension and actually making it harder for my bladder to empty completely. Over the next 6 months, I worked with Maria once a week, and she taught me a comprehensive program of exercises. Some of these exercises I had never seen before, and some were variations of exercises I thought I knew but was doing incorrectly. The first thing I noticed, after about 3 weeks of doing the exercises correctly, was that I could feel the muscles working in a way I never had before. I could actually feel them contracting and relaxing, and I could feel the difference between a strong contraction and a weak one. After about 6 weeks, I noticed that I wasn't having as many close calls when I needed to get to the bathroom. I could hold my urine a little longer, and I felt more in control. After 3 months, I realized that I hadn't had any leakage episodes in over 2 weeks. I could laugh without worry, I could sneeze without crossing my legs, and I could exercise without fear of embarrassment. After 6 months, I felt like I had my life back. Not only was the incontinence virtually gone, but I also noticed improvements in other areas. My lower back pain had decreased significantly, my posture was better, and my intimate relationship with my husband had improved dramatically. But here's the thing. This didn't happen because I did the exercises perfectly every day. There were days I forgot, days I was too tired, days I was traveling and didn't have privacy. The key was consistency over perfection. Maria taught me that it's better to do the exercises correctly 3 times a week than to do them incorrectly every day. She also taught me that this was going to be a lifelong practice. Your pelvic floor muscles are like any other muscles. If you stop working them, they'll lose strength again. But the good news is that once you've built a strong foundation, maintaining it requires much less time and effort than building it in the first place. I'm now 3 years into this journey, and I can honestly say that my pelvic floor is stronger now than it was in my 40s. I do my exercises 4 to 5 times a week. It takes me about 15 minutes, and it's become as natural as brushing my teeth. The foundation exercises. Now let's get into the exercises that changed everything for me. I'm going to teach you these in the order that I learned them, building from the most basic to the more advanced. Remember, the goal isn't to master all of these immediately. The goal is to learn them correctly and build your strength gradually. Exercise 1. Proper pelvic floor identification and basic contraction. Before you can strengthen your pelvic floor, you need to make sure you can identify and isolate these muscles correctly. This is where most women go wrong with traditional Kegel exercises. Start by sitting comfortably in a chair with your feet flat on the floor, or lying on your back with your knees bent. Place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. Take a few deep breaths and notice how your rib cage expands and contracts. But try to keep your belly and chest relatively still. Now, imagine that you're trying to stop the flow of urine midstream, but instead of just squeezing hard, think about gently lifting these muscles up and in. Some women find it helpful to imagine picking up a blueberry with your vagina. Or imagine that you're in an elevator and your pelvic floor is going from the ground floor to the second floor. As you do this, you should not be clenching your buttocks, squeezing your thighs together, or holding your breath. Your belly should stay relaxed, and you should be able to breathe normally. If you're doing this correctly, you might feel a gentle lifting sensation, and you might notice that your lower belly draws in very slightly. Hold this contraction for 3 to 5 seconds. Then slowly and completely relax. The relaxation phase is just as important as the contraction phase. You should feel your pelvic floor muscles completely let go and return to their resting position. Practice this 10 times, focusing more on the quality of the contraction and relaxation than on the number of repetitions. If you get tired before 10, stop and rest. It's better to do 5 perfect contractions than 10 sloppy ones. Exercise 2. Coordination with breathing ones. You can identify and contract your pelvic floor muscles correctly. The next step is to coordinate this with your breathing. This is crucial because in real life, you need your pelvic floor to work automatically with your breath and your core muscles. Start in the same position as before. Take a slow, deep breath in, and as you exhale, gently contract your pelvic floor muscles and hold for the duration of your exhale. As you inhale again, slowly and completely relax your pelvic floor muscles. The key here is the timing. Your pelvic floor should contract as you exhale and relax as you inhale. This mirrors the natural function of your diaphragm and helps coordinate your entire core system. Practice this for 10 breaths, really focusing on the coordination. Don't worry if it feels awkward at first. This coordination takes practice, and it's normal for it to feel unnatural initially. Exercise 3. Quick contractions for urgency. Control this exercise. Helps train your pelvic floor muscles to respond quickly when you need them, like when you feel a sudden urge to urinate or when you're going to cough or sneeze. Start in your comfortable position. Instead of holding a long contraction, you're going to do quick, sharp contractions. Think about quickly lifting your pelvic floor muscles up and then immediately letting them relax. It's like a quick squeeze and release. Do 10 of these quick contractions in a row, then rest for 30 seconds. Repeat this sequence 3 times. These quick contractions are training your muscles to respond rapidly when you need them most. Exercise for progressive holds. This exercise builds endurance in your pelvic floor muscles, which is important for activities that require sustained support, like long walks or standing for extended periods. Contract your pelvic floor muscles and hold for 3 seconds, then relax for 3 seconds. Repeat this 5 times. Then contract and hold for 5 seconds, relax for 5 seconds, and repeat 5 times. Finally, contract and hold for 10 seconds, relax for 10 seconds, and repeat 3 times. The goal is to gradually increase your holding time as your muscles get stronger. Some women can eventually hold a contraction for 30 seconds or more, but don't rush to get there. Build your endurance gradually over weeks and months. Exercise 5. Functional integration. This is where we start to make these exercises more practical and applicable to real life. You're going to practice contracting your pelvic floor muscles before and during activities that typically cause leakage. Practice contracting your pelvic floor muscles just before you cough, sneeze, laugh, or lift something. The idea is to provide extra support right when your body needs it most. You can practice this by intentionally coughing or clearing your throat while contracting your pelvic floor muscles. You can also practice it while lifting light objects around your house, like a gallon of milk or a bag of groceries. Exercise 6. The bridge with pelvic floor activation. This exercise combines pelvic floor strengthening with glute and core strengthening, which is important because these muscle groups all work together to support your pelvis and spine. Lie on your back with your knees bent and feet flat on the floor. As you exhale, contract your pelvic floor muscles and lift your hips up into a bridge position. Hold for 5 seconds while maintaining the pelvic floor contraction. Then slowly lower down while relaxing your pelvic floor muscles. Start with 5 repetitions and gradually work up to 15. This exercise is particularly good for women who also have lower back pain, as it strengthens the entire posterior chain. Exercise 7. Wall sit with pelvic floor pulses. This exercise adds an element of strength and endurance that mimics real life situations where you need to maintain pelvic floor control while your legs are working. Stand with your back against a wall. Then slide down until your thighs are parallel to the floor, as if you're sitting in an invisible chair. Hold this position while doing pelvic floor contractions. Contract for 2 seconds, relax for 2 seconds, and repeat 10 times. If a full wall sit is too challenging, you can modify by not sliding down as far, or by placing a stability ball between your back and the wall for extra support. Exercise 8. Modified squats with pelvic floor. Focus squats are excellent for overall pelvic and core strength, but we're going to modify them to specifically target pelvic floor function. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart. As you lower into a squat, breathe in and allow your pelvic floor muscles to relax and lengthen. As you stand back up, exhale and contract your pelvic floor muscles. This exercise teaches your pelvic floor muscles to work dynamically with your other core muscles and helps improve the coordination that's necessary for daily activities. Start with 5 to 10 repetitions, focusing on the coordination rather than the speed or depth of the squat. Advanced techniques and variations. Once you've mastered the foundation exercises and have been practicing them consistently for at least 4 to 6 weeks, you can start incorporating these more advanced techniques. These exercises will challenge your pelvic floor muscles in different ways and help you build even greater strength and control. Advanced exercise 1. The dead bug with pelvic floor integration. This exercise challenges your ability to maintain pelvic floor control while your arms and legs are moving, which is essential for activities like walking, climbing stairs, or carrying groceries. Lie on your back with your arms reaching toward the ceiling and your knees bent at 90 degrees. Contract your pelvic floor muscles and maintain this contraction while slowly lowering your right arm overhead and extending your left leg until it's just above the floor. Return to the starting position and repeat on the other side. The key is to maintain your pelvic floor contraction throughout the entire movement. If you lose the contraction, rest and start again. Start with 5 repetitions on each side and gradually work up to 10. Advanced exercise 2. Single leg balance with pelvic floor. Challenge balance exercises are excellent for pelvic floor training because they require your core and pelvic floor muscles to work together to maintain stability. Stand on one leg and maintain your balance while doing pelvic floor contractions. Hold each contraction for 5 seconds. Then relax for 5 seconds. Do this 10 times, then switch legs. To make this more challenging, you can close your eyes, stand on an unstable surface like a pillow, or add arm movements while balancing. Advanced exercise 3. Plank variations with pelvic floor activation are fantastic for core strength, and when done correctly with pelvic floor activation, they become even more effective for pelvic health. Start in a modified plank position on your knees and forearms. Contract your pelvic floor muscles and hold for 10 seconds while maintaining the plank position. Rest for 10 seconds and repeat 5 times. As you get stronger, you can progress to a full plank on your toes, side planks, or even moving planks, where you shift your weight from side to side. Advanced exercise 4. Resistance band hip exercises. These exercises target the muscles around your hips and pelvis that work together with your pelvic floor muscles to provide stability and support. Using a resistance band around your thighs, just above your knees, perform side steps while maintaining a pelvic floor contraction. Take 10 steps to the right, then 10 steps to the left. You can also do clamshells with the resistance band. Lie on your side with the band around your thighs. Keep your feet together, and open and close your top knee while maintaining pelvic Floor control, advanced exercise 5, functional movement patterns. These exercises mimic real-life activities and help ensure that your pelvic floor strength translates to improved function in daily life. Practice picking up objects from the floor while maintaining pelvic floor control. Start with light objects and gradually increase the weight as your strength improves. Always contract your pelvic floor muscles before you lift and maintain the contraction throughout the movement. Practice climbing stairs while consciously engaging your pelvic floor muscles with each step. This helps train the automatic response you need for daily activities. Advanced exercise 6, interval training for pelvic floor. Just like cardiovascular interval training, you can train your pelvic floor muscles with alternating periods of work and rest to build both strength and endurance. Alternate between 30 seconds of rapid pelvic floor contractions and 30 seconds of rest. Repeat this cycle 10 times. Then do 30 seconds of sustained pelvic floor contractions followed by 30 seconds of rest, repeating this cycle 5 times. This type of training helps prepare your muscles for the varied demands they'll face throughout the day. Troubleshooting common problems. Even with the best instructions and intentions, most women run into some challenges when they're learning these exercises. Let me address the most common problems I encountered and help you troubleshoot issues you might be facing. Problem 1. I can't feel my pelvic floor muscles working. This is probably the most common issue, and it's completely normal. Many women have lost the connection to these muscles over time. Here are some strategies that can help. Try the stop-start technique while you're urinating. Next time you're on the toilet, try to stop your urine stream midway through. The muscles you use to do this are your pelvic floor muscles. Don't do this regularly, as it can cause problems. But doing it once or twice can help you identify the right muscles. Use visualization techniques. Imagine that you're trying to pick up a marble with your vagina, or that you're trying to prevent gas from escaping. Some women find it helpful to imagine their pelvic floor as a flower that closes its petals. Try different positions. Some women can feel their pelvic floor muscles better when lying down, others when sitting, and others when standing. Experiment with different positions to find what works best for you. Problem 2. I feel like I'm squeezing the wrong muscles. This usually happens when you're using your buttocks, thigh muscles, or abdominal muscles instead of your pelvic floor muscles. Here's how to fix this. Place your hands on your buttocks while doing the exercises. If you feel your buttocks tightening, you're using the wrong muscles. Focus on keeping your buttocks relaxed. Keep your thighs slightly apart. Many women automatically squeeze their thighs together when trying to contract their pelvic floor, but this engages the wrong muscles. Keep breathing. If you're holding your breath, you're probably using too much effort and engaging other muscles. Your pelvic floor muscles should be able to work while you breathe normally. Problem 3. I get tired very quickly. This is a sign that your muscles are weak, which is exactly why you need to be doing these exercises. Here's how to work with fatigue. Start with fewer repetitions and shorter holds. If the instructions say to hold for 10 seconds but you can only hold for 3, start with 3 seconds and gradually build up. Take longer rest periods between exercises. There's no shame in resting for a full minute or 2 between sets if that's what your muscles need. Do the exercises more frequently but for shorter periods. Instead of doing one long session, try doing 3 or 4 shorter sessions throughout the day. Problem 4. I'm not seeing improvement. If you've been doing the exercises consistently for 6 to 8 weeks and haven't seen any improvement, here are some things to consider. Make sure you're doing the exercises correctly. Consider working with a pelvic floor physical therapist for a few sessions. To ensure your technique is correct, evaluate your consistency. Are you really doing the exercises as often as you think you are? Consider keeping a log for a week to track your actual practice. Consider other factors that might be interfering with your progress. Chronic constipation, chronic cough, being significantly overweight, or certain medications can all interfere with pelvic floor function. Problem 5. I feel worse after doing the can happen if your pelvic floor muscles are too tight or if you're doing the exercises incorrectly. Here's what to do. Focus more on the relaxation phase. Make sure you're completely relaxing your pelvic floor muscles between contractions. Try gentle stretching. Hip flexor stretches, child's pose, and gentle spinal twists can help relax tight pelvic floor muscles. Reduce the intensity of your exercises temporarily. Do lighter contractions and shorter holds until the discomfort resolves. Problem 6. I forget. To do the exercises, consistency is key with pelvic floor exercises, but it's easy to forget. Here are some strategies. Link the exercises to something you already do daily, like brushing your teeth or drinking your morning coffee. Set reminders on your phone, but make them specific. Instead of just do pelvic floor exercises, set a reminder that says, do 10 pelvic floor contractions while drinking coffee. Keep a simple chart or use a habit tracking app to track your daily practice. Start with just 1 or 2 exercises rather than trying to do the entire routine from the beginning. Lifestyle factors that support pelvic floor health. 7585 minutes. While exercises are the foundation of pelvic floor recovery, there are several lifestyle factors that can either support or undermine your progress. Let me share with you the changes I made beyond just the exercises that helped accelerate my results. Hydration and bladder training. One of the biggest mistakes I was making was trying to prevent leakage by drinking less water. I thought that if I had less fluid in my bladder, I'd be less likely to leak. This actually made things worse because concentrated urine can irritate the bladder and make urgency symptoms worse. I learned to drink adequate water throughout the day, about 8 glasses, but to time it strategically. I drink most of my water earlier in the day and reduce my intake a few hours before bedtime to minimize nighttime bathroom trips. I also learned about bladder training, which involves gradually increasing the time between bathroom visits. Instead of going to the bathroom every time I felt the slightest urge, I learned to wait and let my bladder fill more completely. This helped retrain my bladder to hold more urine and reduced the frequency of bathroom trips. Managing constipation puts constant pressure on the pelvic floor muscles and can contribute to weakness and dysfunction. I had been dealing with occasional constipation for years without realizing how much it was affecting my pelvic floor. I increased my fiber intake through fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, and I made sure to drink plenty of water to help the fiber do its job. I also learned about proper toilet posture. Using a small stool to elevate my feet while on the toilet helps align my pelvis for easier elimination. Regular exercise also helps with constipation, and I found that my daily walks not only helped with my overall fitness but also helped keep my digestive system regular. Weight management. Carrying extra weight, especially around the midsection, puts additional pressure on the pelvic floor muscles. I was about 20 pounds heavier than I wanted to be, and losing that weight made a noticeable difference in my symptoms. I didn't go on any extreme diets. Instead, I focused on eating more whole foods, reducing processed foods, and being more mindful of my portion sizes. The combination of better nutrition and regular exercise helped me lose the weight gradually and keep it off. Proper lifting techniques. I learned that how I lift objects can either support or strain my pelvic floor. The key is to engage your pelvic floor muscles before you lift and maintain that engagement throughout the lift. I practiced proper lifting technique by squatting down to pick up objects rather than bending at the waist, keeping the object close to my body, and engaging my core and pelvic floor muscles before I lift. This has also helped reduce the lower back pain I used to experience. Managing chronic cough. If you have a chronic cough from allergies, asthma, or other conditions, it's important to get it treated. Every cough puts stress on your pelvic floor, muscles, and chronic coughing can contribute to weakness and dysfunction. I had a persistent cough from seasonal allergies that I hadn't been treating properly. Once I started managing my allergies better, my cough improved, and I noticed that my pelvic floor symptoms improved as well. Clothing choices. I learned that wearing very tight clothing, especially around the waist and hips, can interfere with proper pelvic floor function. I started choosing clothes that allow for natural movement and breathing. I also learned about the importance of proper undergarments. Well-fitting supportive underwear can provide gentle support without being restrictive. Stress management. Chronic stress can contribute to muscle tension throughout the body, including the pelvic floor. I had been carrying a lot of stress in my body without realizing it, and this was contributing to muscle tension and dysfunction. I started incorporating stress management techniques into my daily routine, including deep breathing exercises, gentle yoga, and regular walks in nature. I also made sure to get adequate sleep, as poor sleep can increase stress hormones and interfere with muscle recovery. Hormone considerations. After menopause, declining estrogen levels can affect the strength and elasticity of pelvic floor tissues. I talked to my doctor about this and learned about options for supporting tissue health. Some women benefit from topical estrogen treatments, which can help maintain tissue health without the risks associated with systemic hormone therapy. This is definitely something to discuss with your healthcare provider, as the best approach varies from woman to woman. Regular medical care. I learned the importance of regular checkups with healthcare providers who understand pelvic floor health. This includes not just your gynecologist, but potentially a urogynecologist or pelvic floor physical therapist. Don't be embarrassed to bring up pelvic floor concerns with your doctor. These are common problems, and healthcare providers are trained to help with them. The earlier you address issues, the easier they are to treat. As we wrap up our time together today, I want to recap the most important points and leave you with a clear action plan for moving forward. First, remember that pelvic floor dysfunction is incredibly common, but it's not something you have to accept as a normal part of aging. Your pelvic floor muscles can be strengthened and retrained at any age, and the exercises I've shared with you today have been proven effective for thousands of women. The foundation of your recovery is proper exercise technique. Start with the basic exercises, proper pelvic floor identification, coordination with breathing, and basic contractions and relaxations. Master these before moving on to more advanced exercises. Quality is always more important than quantity. Consistency is more important than perfection. It's better to do these exercises correctly 3 times a week than to do them incorrectly every day. Build the habit gradually, and don't be discouraged if you miss days or if progress seems slow at first. Address lifestyle factors that support pelvic floor health. Stay hydrated, manage constipation, maintain a healthy weight, practice proper lifting techniques, manage stress, and don't hesitate to seek medical care when needed. Be patient with yourself and the process. Most women see some improvement within 4 to 6 weeks of consistent practice, but significant improvement often takes 3 to 6 months. Some women see continued improvement for up to a year or more. Remember that this is a lifelong practice. Once you've built strength and function, you'll need to maintain it with regular exercise, just like any other aspect of your health and fitness. Most importantly, know that you're not alone in this journey. Millions of women deal with pelvic floor issues, and there are resources and support available to help you. Don't let embarrassment or shame prevent you from getting the help you need and deserve. If this video has helped you understand your pelvic floor better and given you hope that improvement is possible, I want you to take action today. Don't wait until tomorrow or next week. Start with just one exercise right now. Choose the basic pelvic floor identification exercise and do it 5 times right now. As you're sitting here watching this video, feel for those muscles, practice the gentle lift and release, and begin to rebuild that connection between your mind and your pelvic floor. I want you to commit to practicing these exercises for the next 4 weeks. Put it on your calendar, set reminders on your phone, whatever you need to do to make it happen. 4 weeks from now, I want you to come back to this video and leave a comment telling me about your progress. If you found this video helpful, please share it with other women in your life who might benefit from this information. We need to break the silence around pelvic floor health and support each other in taking control of our bodies and our confidence. Subscribe to my channel if you want more content about women's health, aging gracefully, and taking charge of your physical and emotional well-being. I share my journey and research on topics that matter to women like us. Remember, you have the power to change your situation. You have the tools now to begin that change. Your body is not broken, it just needs some attention and care. You deserve to feel confident, comfortable, and in control of your body. Start today. Be consistent, be patient with yourself, and know that better days are ahead. You've got this, and I'm cheering you on every step of the way.